Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
We were learning about different agricultural practices, and most of them we have covered. Can somebody list out all the agricultural practices that we already covered? Anybody? Avinida? Anyone? Irene is ready?
Preparation of soil.
Preparation of soil.
Sowing.
Sowing. Adding manure and fertilizers. Irrigation.
Protection from
weeds. Now, two more are remaining. Do you remember which are those?
Harvesting and storage.
Harvesting and storage. So we will learn about harvesting first. Any idea what is meant by harvesting? Do you know what is meant by harvesting? When do we harvest? If a farmer is cultivating crops, when is harvesting done?
When the crop is fully grown.
When the crops are fully grown, now the farmers can cut these matured crops. That is known as harvesting. So let's learn more about it. So before that, I'm repeating again. Faisal, Shivakrishna, Nada, Felix, Asim, Priyana, you please turn your videos on. With the video off, I will not mark attendance. Harvesting. The cutting of the crop after it is matured is known as harvesting. Once again, the cutting of the crop after it is matured. Once the crop is matured, the farmers will cut them. That is known as harvesting, or they will remove them depending upon what type of crop it is. This can be plucked or it can be cut. So whatever it is, removing the matured crops is known as harvesting. So here you can see the farmers using a sickle, cutting the matured crops. Once again, harvesting means cutting of the crop once it is matured. Matured means fully grown. Once it is fully grown, these matured crops will be removed. And there are different methods of carrying out harvesting. It can be done manually using a sickle. As you can see in the figure, they are using a sickle to remove the matured crops. Or you can use a machine known as harvester. Harvester is a machine which will carry out harvesting. Okay. And there is yet another device which you call as combine. And combine is a device which can carry out harvesting as well as threshing. Now, you might be thinking what is meant by threshing. About that, we will learn. Once the crops are harvested, we carry out threshing. So, combine is a machine which can carry out both threshing and harvesting. It's a combined thresher and harvester. So, threshing process you will be learning. So, before that, I will repeat all the points once again. We learned about harvesting. What is harvesting? The cutting of the crop after it is matured, or cutting the matured crop is known as harvesting. And how is harvesting carried out? It can be done manually using your hands, not with the help of any machines. Just manually using a sickle, this can be carried out. And if the farmers have to cover a large area, then he can depend on some machines like harvester or a combine. Harvester and combine are the two devices commonly used by farmers for harvesting. But what is the advantage of a combine when compared to a harvester? Combine can carry out both harvesting and threshing. Harvester is meant only for harvesting, whereas combine can carry out both harvesting as well as threshing. You can see in the figure the picture of a combine. Is there any doubt? Can I proceed?
Ma'am, I'm writing the last.
Okay. So once again, harvesting is the cutting of the crop after it is matured. There are different ways of carrying out harvesting. Either you can do it manually using a sickle or by using machines. And the two machines given in your textbook are, one is combine, the other one is harvester. Harvester will help in carrying out harvesting, whereas combine can carry out both threshing and harvesting. It's a combined harvester and thresher. Threshing is actually removing the grains from the stalk. So I'll explain it in the next slide. So I'm proceeding to the next one. Threshing and winnowing. Just now you learned that combine can carry out harvesting as well as threshing. So once the grains are harvested, we have to carry out threshing and winnowing. Let's see what are threshing and winnowing. First one, threshing. It is separating the seed grains from the stalk. Suppose this is, just a minute. Now just imagine these are the harvested crop, paddy crop. Okay. Now we need to separate these grains. The grains should be separated from the stalk. So that process is known as threshing. Separating the grains from the stalk, that is known as threshing. And here in the picture, what you see, the ladies after harvesting, what they are doing on some hard surface, they are beating the stalks of grains. So when they are beating, what will happen? The grains will get separated from the stalk, and as you can see in the picture, it will get collected over there. See, the seeds are, or the grains are getting collected over here. They get separated from these stalk, and these grains will get collected over here. So threshing is the process of separating seed grains from the stalk. Stalk means stem. So from the stem, from the stalk, separating grains is known as threshing. Threshing can be done manually, as you can see in the picture, and there are devices also, machines also for carrying out threshing. And now, once threshing is completed, the next step is winnowing. Winnowing is the process by which lighter husk and straw particles are separated from the grains. Lighter husk and straw particles. See children, here in the first step or in threshing, what is done? The grains are separated from the stalk. But these grains, will it be free of impurities? This will have small particles of. So these grains, once harvesting is completed, we carried out threshing, and even after threshing, the grains will have husk, small pieces of husk particles, straw particles, etc. So that also should be separated before storing. So that process, or the process by which lighter husk and straw particles are separated from the grains is known as winnowing. For all these, for carrying out winnowing and threshing, we have machines. And I told you combine can carry out threshing. Similarly, winnowing can be carried out by a winnowing machine. But in the figure what I've shown here, or the pictures here, these are carried out manually. In the first figure, threshing is done by beating the stalks of grains on a hard surface. And in the second figure, winnowing is done manually. And as you can see in the figure, the lady is standing on a raised platform. On at a particular height, she is standing. And usually this is done where there is enough wind or air circulation. And she will pour the threshed grains from a height. So as these grains are poured from there, the lighter husk and straw particles. You know that the grains are heavier. The paddy grains or wheat grains will be heavy when compared to the husk and straw particles. So what will happen? Those lighter particles will fly away. When you are pouring it from a height, the lighter particles will fly away and they get collected at a distance, whereas the grains will be collected over here. Being lighter, they will fly. You might have seen this at home. Maybe when your mother is removing that outer skin of onion and all, maybe sometimes that onion basket will have so many the peels of onion along with the onion. So then when she takes it on a vessel, or we call it in Malayalam murab, or we transfer it to a flat vessel, and if you just pat it a few times, you can find, or several times upon patting, you will find the lighter particles, the skin and the other particles of the onion or the peels will get it will flew off, whereas the onions will remain. It not only in case of onion, whatever it is. So the lighter particles will fly away and the heavier particles will remain in that vessel. And here the same principle is used. Winnowing is done manually or using a machine. So here, as you can see in the picture, with the grains, with the threshed grains, she is standing on a raised platform and she is pouring it out from a height. So because of the wind, the seed grains being heavy, they'll get settled at the bottom or settled close to her, and the lighter particles will fly away. And we can even do it with the help of a winnowing machine. And another very important point to note is that in your textbook, the definition for winnowing and threshing is given as separating grains from chaff. You might have seen it. Separating grains from chaff is known as winnowing, and even for threshing, they have given the same definition. The chaff means the lighter particles, that is the chaff, the husk and straw particles. So in order to avoid confusion, I have given different definition for both threshing and winnowing. What is threshing? Threshing is separating the seed grains from the stalk, whereas winnowing is a process by which the lighter husk and straw particles are separated from the grains. Any doubt? Okay, shall I proceed?
Yes,
Okay, towards the end, I will summarize all the points once again. And as I told you, it can be done with a machine. On the right hand side, the green machine is a winnowing machine. You can do it with the help of manually you can do, as I told you, standing on a raised platform in a properly air circulated area, or where there is enough breeze or wind, you can carry out this process manually. Or we have machines which you call as winnowing machine to separate the seed grains from the lighter husk and straw particles. Now next we are going to learn about storage. Grains are harvested, threshing and winnowing is done. The grains are ready now. Now, all the grains obtained, the farmers will not need. At the same time, it has to be stored. It has to be packed and stored somewhere. So while storing the grains which are harvested, the farmers need to take care. This has to be, or these grains need to be stored for a longer time. So when we store something, this can be damaged by moisture, rats. It can be spoiled by moisture, rats, insects, or even microorganisms. All these can damage the grains during storage. Now just think that the farmer is taking so much care, starting from preparation of the soil, all the measures, all the steps he has taken, immense care, and he got a good harvest. But after harvesting, while storing, if these grains are damaged, the farmer again, he will be at loss. After taking so much of effort, all these will go in vain. So this step is also very, very important, storing them properly. Only if it is stored properly, it can be protected from moisture, rats, insects, microorganisms, etc. So for that, what is to be done? For that, before storing, you should properly dry them under the sun. Why we are drying under the sun? So that the moisture, the water content is completely dried off. It gets evaporated, because the more amount of moisture, the greater will be the damage caused, or easily it will get spoiled. Children, at home also, if you are, just for example, some food was left over. So at home, you prepared dinner or lunch or something you prepared, and some was left over, and you had fried chicken and chicken curry, say for example, and you forgot to leave it inside the fridge. Okay, you forgot to leave inside the refrigerator, and the next day morning or by afternoon, if you check these food items, chicken curry and the fried chicken, which one will get spoiled fast? Chicken curry or chicken fry?
Chicken curry.
Why? What is the reason?
Chicken fry.
Chicken fry is dry. The moisture has got completely evaporated up when we fried it. So less moisture content, so it will get spoiled late. Doesn't mean that you can keep it indefinitely outside. It's not that. But when compared to chicken curry means gravy is there, so water content is more, so it can get easily spoiled. So it is very important that before storing the grains, they are dried properly. They are dried properly to protect them from insect pests, bacteria, fungi, etc. If moisture content is there, they can get easily spoiled. See in the figure, you can see after harvesting, before storing, these grains are dried under the sun, and you can see those people spreading the grains under the sun. And once it is dried, so drying is very, very important. The moisture should be completely drained off. It should get evaporated, and then they will store it. Is it clear, children? So we can have a quick recap of what we covered so far, and then we'll proceed. Agreed? Respond. Okay. So we started with harvesting. Harvesting is the cutting of the crop once it is matured, or cutting the matured crop is known as harvesting. And I told you that it can be done with the help of a sickle or using a harvesters. When you have to do it manually, when it is a small area, the farmers can go for sickle, and if not, if it's a large area, then they can use two machines, either a harvester or a combine. And the advantage of combine is that it will carry out both harvesting and threshing. And then we learned about threshing and winnowing. I told threshing is a process by which seed grains are separated from the stalk. And it can be done manually by beating these stalks of grains on some hard surface. Then it has to be followed by winnowing. Winnowing is a process by which the lighter husk and straw particles are separated from the grains. And you can see in the picture how it is done manually. I had already explained. Or else you can carry it out with the help of a machine known as winnowing machine. You can see the figure there. The green color machine will separate the lighter husk and straw particles from the grains. And then we learned about storage. And I told you it's very, very important that the grains are stored properly. If they are not stored properly, they can get damaged by moisture, rats, insects, and even by microorganisms. So to avoid the damage, the farmer has to dry them properly under the sun. Why is drying them under the sun? To drain off the moisture. So the moisture content or the water content will get evaporated so that the grains can be safely stored. Any doubt?
Ma'am, can you show the first slide?
First slide, harvesting. Harvesting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You joined late, Dia? Is this the one?
Yes, ma'am. 5 minutes.
Okay. Shall I stop sharing, Dia?
Ma'am,
Okay.
ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, can you show the last slide? I was writing last point.
Okay, okay. Storage, no, Advait?
Yes, ma'am.
Just a minute. It got stuck, Advait. Just a minute. Okay. So I'll repeat it. I'll show it again.
Okay.
And see that you tell me before I stop sharing so that we can save time. Okay?
Okay.
Just a minute. Just a minute. I'll show it. Okay, Advait, you quickly take down the points. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Can I stop?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, okay. No doubts, no? No other doubts. Okay. What is meant by harvesting? Avnida, what is harvesting?
Cutting of the crop after it is matured is known as
Yes.
harvesting.
Very good. Cutting of the crop once it is matured is known as harvesting. How is harvesting carried out, Fayuna? How is harvesting carried out?
Manually by sickle.
Manually, bicycle. Enough. I mentioned about two machines which can carry out winnowing. Advait, which are the two machines? Don't refer.
Yes, ma'am.
Which are the two machines used for carrying out harvesting? Where are you checking? Where are you referring? See, Advait, look here. From the name of the term itself, you will get the name of the machine. What is the process?
Thresher.
What was the question? How is harvesting done? Machines used for carrying out harvesting. So clue is there in the term itself.
Harvester, combine.
Very good. Harvester and
Combine.
combine. Very good. Harvester and combine are the two devices used for carrying out harvesting. Okay. Now tell me, what is threshing? Dia, what is threshing?
The process of separating seed grains from the stalk
Very good. Very good. And what is winnowing?
is called threshing.
Okay, good. Dion, what is winnowing? Dion's video is first. Kiran, what is winnowing?
Ma'am, process by which lighter particles of the staff are removed.
Okay, the lighter husk and straw particles are removed from grains. Dion, can you repeat it? What is winnowing? Unmute. What is meant by winnowing? You want me to repeat it once again? Dion, you want me to repeat it? Listen carefully. Okay. The process by which the seed grains are separated from lighter husk and straw particles. Can you repeat? You start, I will help you. Yes, Dion. Dion, unmute. No problem. You try. I understood you have a network issue. No problem. You just try.
Winnowing is the process by which lighter husk and straw are separated.
From what? What we have harvested? From seed grains. From seed grains. Repeat it once again. Dion, repeat once again.
Winnowing is the process of separation of husk and straw particles from grains.
Yes, good. So that is known as winnowing. And name the machine used for carrying out winnowing. Asara, which machine is used for carrying out winnowing? Easy to remember. Winnowing is done with the help of which machine? Unmute, unmute. Now you tell me. Which machine? The clue is in the term itself. Winnowing. Who can help her? Asara? Winnowing is done. Yes. Yes, Diya.
Winnowing machine.
Winnowing machine. Asara, isn't that easy? Asara, respond. What is the name of the machine used for carrying out winnowing?
Winnowing machine.
Winnowing machine, not you. Asara, any problem means you message. Okay, I think she has sent a message. No. Asara, you have some connectivity issue means leave me a message. Okay. Is it clear, children? Yes, Asara, what is your doubt? Name the machine used for carrying out winnowing. Can you repeat? First of all, you unmute. Asara, unmute. Your voice is not audible. Yes? Winnowing machine. Winnowing machine. Winnowing machine is used for carrying out winnowing. And children, why the farmers are spreading the grains or drying the grains under the sun before storing? What is the reason? Who can tell me?
It should be properly dried.
Why?
To reduce the moisture.
One at a time. Wait.
Reduce the
Aryan can
moisture.
get a chance. Advait, wait. Aryan can say. Yes, Aryan.
Ma'am, to reduce the moisture in them.
Why the moisture should be reduced, Aryan? If
To
that moisture is there, what will happen?
To prevent attack by insect pests, bacteria, and fungi.
Okay, good. So can we continue? No doubts, no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how these are stored or where or devices used for storing these grains? Farmers, they store grains in jute bags or metallic bins. So these grains, harvested grains, can be stored in clean jute bags and metallic bins. And when it has to be stored on a large scale, so on a commercial scale, when these grains need to be stored, then this is done in silos and granaries. You can see the picture of silos and granaries over there. Second figure, granary, and the first one, silos. So huge containers there, these grains will be stored. But when it is, when these have to be stored on a small scale, they depend on jute bags or metallic bins. And when a large amount of grains are there to be stored, they store them in silos and granaries. And in granaries, you can see that they are stored in jute bags. And this will help in protecting them from pests like rats and other insects. And the place where these are being stored, say for example, in the godowns where these are being stored, so that also should be very neat, clean and dry. And sometimes they carry out chemical treatments. Chemical treatments, we have already learned that as far as possible, we need to avoid them. But at times, limited use of chemicals are also carried out while storing these grains so that it can be protected from pests and microorganisms. So the most important thing is that the grain should be very dry. The containers where these grains are stored also should be very dry, clean and neat. And sometimes the godowns where these are being stored, some chemical treatments are also carried out. Permitted chemicals are fumigated, or some chemical treatments are carried out so that the grains are protected from all these microbes and pests. Okay, got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here you can see a person is carrying out some chemical treatment in the godown where these grains are stored. Okay, so that the pest attack won't be there and the grains will be safe. With that, we have completed the storage of grains. And here you can see the picture of neem leaves. Are you familiar with the neem leaves, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. How does it taste? Very sweet in taste, no? How does it taste? Anybody have tasted?
Ma'am, bitter.
Bitter taste. And like this particular leaves are spread on the bed, and we boil water adding these leaves to treat a particular disease. Which disease? Huh? Huh? Anybody?
Chicken pox.
Exactly. Chicken pox, because it's having some, what to say, germicidal effect.
Yes,
And the dried neem leaves, you can use them for storing grains at home. Even at home, when we are storing grains, chances are there that these get spoiled by microorganisms and pests. So if you add a few dried neem leaves, you need not add it fresh, you can dry them. And if you put some neem leaves in these containers, it won't get affected by different pests. You might have seen your mother doing small tricks at home. In sugar, in the container where she stores sugar, she will add clove. Have you seen? Adding 1 or 2 cloves into that sugar container will keep it away from ants and other insects. So when you are storing grains at home, you don't have to go for any chemicals. Instead, you can use some natural remedies for that. Natural substances like dried neem leaves, cloves, etc. And the last slide of this chapter, animal husbandry. You're not going to learn in detail about animal husbandry. This topic you're going to learn in detail next year in class 9. Now, the definition of animal husbandry you need to learn. Children, we were learning about the plants, how plants are providing us food, or how plants have to be taken care so that we obtain food. And we need to remember that just like plants, animals also provide us with different food items. And what is animal husbandry? The breeding, feeding, and caring. Feeding, breeding, and caring of domestic animals on a large scale, like 1 or 2 animals grown at home. That is not animal husbandry. When this is carried out on a large scale for food and other purposes, for food, for carrying out work, or for getting their fur, for different purposes you can use them. So that is known as animal husbandry. Breeding, feeding, caring. Breeding means just making them mate and multiply, increase in number. Breeding, feeding, and caring. Feeding, breeding, and caring of domestic animals on a large scale. What for? For food and other purposes is known as animal husbandry. Details in class 9 you will learn. Once again, the feeding, breeding, and caring of domestic animals. We need to provide them food. We have to take care of them. We should give them chances to multiply. The situations should be provided for them to multiply or increase in number, for them to reproduce and increase in number. All those steps are very important. So the breeding, feeding, and caring of domestic animals on a large scale for food and other purposes is known as animal husbandry. Any doubt? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So who will tell me what is meant by animal husbandry? Huh?
Can you show the next?
Which one? Which one? Which slide?
Ma'am, last slide.
Last slide.
About store.
About storage. Huh? We have less time, children. So if that slide is missing, I will send it in the group. Not to worry. Okay. What if you tell me what is animal husbandry? Animal husbandry. Not Diya. I will ask someone else.
The breeding.
Neha. Neha Mary.
Yes, ma'am.
What is meant by animal husbandry?
The breeding, feeding, and caring
Of
of domestic animals in large scale.
For
food and other.
Yes, for food and other purposes is known as animal husbandry. The feeding, breeding, and caring of domestic animals on a large scale for food and other purposes is known as animal husbandry. With that, we have completed the chapter. I'll be sending the remaining slides today, and the homework also I will send. Okay? Thank you, children. See you next class.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.